buy other channels along with other ones. But packaging, I think that's probably a lower hanging fruit than consumer a la carte.
And so are there, I mean, you're going to have this distribution, you're going to be able to potentially count those ad impressions, whether you can forward through that content and skip the ads, because if you can, obviously they will. They do now on TV. So that's going to be interesting to see, if they're getting a lot more pickup, if they're able to sell that distribution and they're getting a lot more pickup on it. So we kind of talked about monetization a little bit. I asked a couple questions. What content do you think people are Rupert Murdoch is, you've seen what the Wall Street Journal is doing, he's trying to save newspapers, and he's very public in his pay for content model. What content do you think people will pay for, and are there any models like in cable that are that you think we can take to the web? I mean, I know.
I think people do realize the value of great content which they like, and I think they will pay for it. Like what print is trying to do is, microtransaction is one of those models where you actually pay for what you consume. Okay, you don't buy the entire Wall Street Journal or the entire New York Times. So some of those models will come up, and I think people are willing to pay for what they like, because you talk about the print industry, people say it's dying, but if you talk to consumers, they don't want the print industry to die. They still want it, and if you can find the right way of providing them what they want, they will pay for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the microtransaction aspect is so key. I think
right.
what Apple's doing with the iPhone and conditioning people to do that. I mean, in Europe and other places it's more commonplace, but microtransactions for us. Wasn't that when you dialed for 411 for information? It was a microtransaction, and you were doing it for information. So obviously that's a key area. But Shazam, if I had to pay a penny every time I used that application, I'd do that.
And then you have HBO, which is, we were talking about earlier, is it's probably the model for premium. People pay for it's difficult to separate what if you're paying for the service or you're paying for the content in cable. But HBO, but premium services on top of that kind of shed a little bit of light. People are, some people will pay, how much is HBO a month?
$14.99.
14 or whatever. So it's $14. Some people are paying $14 a month just to watch Entourage or whatever their favorite shows in that network.
But movies is something that there's a demonstrated willingness to pay. Right? So at the core, a lot of those premium channels on cable are movie service. Netflix is a movie service. People on cell phones are paying for movie services. And so I think you had mentioned great content. There's a lot of great content that is not movies, but movies is one thing that sort of historically has a demonstrated value associated with it.
So how long does this panel go till? 12? Is it over? 45, 15 more minutes roughly? Okay. So Albie's kind of the only one